Released back in 1991 for the MVS before coming home to the AES shortly afterwards, Burning Fight is a 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up in the vein of Streets of Rage, Final Fight, and Double Dragon. This particular genre always gets a bad rap for whatever reason. Years back, it was one of my favorites, as it was an early example of co-op action or gameplay which to this day I remain a huge fan of. I often think back to Turtles in Time when I used to have an absolute blast making my way through the game with a bunch of friends. The problem with the genre is that it can get old very, very quickly if new enemies aren't introduced or the audio-visual presentation is somewhat lacking. Yes, the gameplay is important, of course, but the audio-visual presentation does make up a huge portion of these games. I mean, seriously, where would the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game be if it didn't have that iconic theme song or those wicked graphics? So enter Burning Fight. It looks and feels like a Final Fight copycat, except it isn't as polished or refined. You can select between 3 different characters, each playing slightly different. One will be faster, another more powerful, and each has their own unique special move. The controls are incredibly simple, with this being only a 3-button game. A punches, B jumps, and C kicks. Pressing B and then A will perform a jump kick, while pressing A and B together at the same time will perform a special attack. As always with these type of games, be warned that if you use your special attack and it connects, you will take some health damage as well. As you progress through the game, you'll find weapons such as guns, knives, and even TNT explosive sticks. One unique element to Burning Fight is that you can enter certain shops or other areas in order to break environmental objects to get some points and to get some health regeneration items. Outside that though, this is pretty much the exact same experience you've come to expect, where you move left to right, taking on every single enemy encounter possible. Eventually you'll make your way to an end boss. The enemies have a nice variety to them with multiple color palette swaps, but the biggest issue I have with this game is the animations. I find the main character and all the enemies are just a little too stiff when compared to other beat-em-ups released at the time. That's not to say the graphics are bad, as they aren't. For this being a relatively early Neo Geo release, the graphics actually feature some very nice scaling, where enemies appear in the background and then slowly come to the foreground. Some backgrounds look very nice, while others are a little bit on the plain side. The Neo Geo is kind of a strange beast. It features the likes of the King of Fighters, Garou, Mark of the Wolves, and the Metal Slug series, and yet it didn't have one killer app beat 'em up. I'm hoping that perhaps one day a developer like NG Dev Team will put something together, as I absolutely love this genre and I never experienced that one true must-play beat 'em up on the Neo Geo. I always had more fun with games such as Turtles in Time, Double Dragon, to the likes of Streets of Rage. So that means that the Genesis and the Super Nintendo had a lot more of those type of games than the MVS, but hey, maybe one day I'll get the game I've been dreaming of. With a brand new beat 'em up hitting the Genesis in just a few months, one can dream that something could potentially see the light of day on the Neo Geo one day.